Hasan on why Johnny Somali is racist against the Japanese. America bad. Wait, so they agree with Johnny Somali? Like, I'm confused. They keep posting this over and over again, apparently, and trying to like updude it. They've tried posting it multiple times. What is the anger? Repost thread. So going to repost my comment. What critical race theory does to a motherfucker? These guys' entire worldview is based on white people bad. It is hilarious. The kind of shit they come up with to stick to that. Are you okay? Do you need help? Nothing you said has anything to do with the clip in the pose. What is this? He was being incredibly fucking racist. What the I said racist? Yes, dude. Yes. Are you going to say that like, oh, but Japan is 98% Japanese. How can you be racist to the Japanese? Because when he was being racist to the fucking Japanese, he was being racist to the Japanese by screaming Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So Johnny Somali wasn't being racist to the Japanese on the virtue of him being black and them being Japanese. He was being racist to the Japanese on the virtue that they were fucking annihilated by American atomics. Once again, tying this back to historic violence, colonial violence or imperial violence, but violence nonetheless, that an entire nation was subjected to. If it's tied to systemic violence, then yes, there is an adequate reason as to why this would be considered racist in the way that you understand racism. Okay? So that's it. That's literally, it's that simple. It is. Wait, I'm confused. What are they like? What is the, at no point did you use the word white? Yeah. The main point of contention seems to be that Japan was imperial, and you say imperialism, colonial violence. Yeah, it's really interesting because if you actually watch the full clip, I actually get into that as well. But of course, that part is not in this clipped out of context. I almost immediately after this 58-second clip is done, unironically start talking about how Japan was obviously a fascist imperial entity itself, and the nuclear bombs, the atomics that we used on Japan had absolutely nothing to do with its like rape of Manchuria. But you know, that's that it's a days old clip. The original OP got so horny to post, they posted a random YouTube VOD of it. It's nothing. Even the normal LSF commenters aren't buying it. Comments are funny. Seems reasonable, level-headed, and ideologically consistent. If you want to disagree on the structural element of racism, sure, go ahead. It's clear from the numerous clips in the past few days that Hasan does believe there's a structural element. What's the gotcha moment here? Am I missing something? Yeah, after watching it, none of the raging responses in here don't seem to be relevant to the video at all. They're reacting to their own hallucinations. Well, out of curiosity, I just had to look at your YouTube account. Basically, all your comments are on threads about Hasan. I mean, I find the guy annoying, but this level of seething obsession can't be good for you. I just don't get it. You think I do it for karma when Hasan mauling is more than enough enjoyment? Yeah, I'm mauling so hard, man. Doesn't this whole point of theirs imply that they think Japan deserved to be nuked? Yes, they are in agreement with Johnny Somali to own me, I guess. I just don't think they understand the words you're saying, and instead of looking it up, they just assume it's bullshit. Yeah, I don't think anything I said in that clip is like wrong or goes against what I believe. Yeah, Japan was a fascist imperialist country that was doing their own version of the Holocaust in China and Korea. And yet that still did not justify using atomics twice, not one, but twice. They keep posting my dubs. These fans' hatred of you is irrational. Nothing you say or don't say will have any impact on how they feel. Yeah. It's probably one of your most benign, least controversial takes I've heard you say. It makes complete logical sense. Yeah. I agree the atomic bombs were not justified. However, they did probably save lives overall. Yeah, that argument is also bullshit because the argument is literally because America was firebombing Japan, which was going to kill more people in general. And it's like, there's another option there, which is to not do that. You know what I mean? America is not like an uncontrollable force. It's not like a natural disaster. It was a calculated decision made by American generals to continuously firebomb all of the civilian areas of Japan. Not only was Japan ready to surrender before we dropped the bombs, but the Japanese conditional surrender came with keeping the empire intact, like keeping the emperor in a position of power, which we gave them after we nuked them anyway. Like we literally nuked them and then we're like, yeah, you can keep the emperor, it's fine. The fuck? Anyway. Yeah, America just wanted to try out their nukes, so sorry to the Japanese, RIP. I hate when people repeat that talking point, especially when almost everyone in charge wrote memoirs about how they dropped the bombs for funsies. Yeah. We also pushed Japan to colonialism. Yeah, that's fucking bullshit, okay? I'm sorry. Like, Japan getting fucked over by the global powers after World War I, when China is literally getting way more fucked over after World War I. and then the Japanese having their own imperial ambitions is ridiculous. We didn't push them into colonialism. They were definitely with that, okay? They were on board with that. Imperial Japan absolutely was nutty with it. That's crazy. That's not correct. We dropped the bombs to show the USSR we had them and had to be and to be mindful. Yeah. Imperialism, not colonialism. Those are two different things. No, what Japan was doing was colonialism. Imperialism is the more modernized version of that. No, Japan absolutely had colonies. They were doing colonialism. The Japanese had, in fact, already sued for peace before the atomic age was announced to the world with the destruction of Hiroshima, and before the Russian entry into the war, the atomic bomb played no decisive part from a purely military standpoint in the defeat of Japan. Fleet Admiral Chester W. Nimitz. Yeah, Manchuria was literally a colonial project, and Japan was doing that before America even existed, and certainly after America existed as well. So the idea that like Japanese colonialism is something that the Western world pushed them into doing is completely incorrect. Commodore Perry forced Japan to open, which led to the Meiji Restoration and the start of Japan expanding to match the Western powers. That chatter is wrong. Japan did not try to surrender before the nukes. That wasn't a chatter. That was a chatter quoting a high-ranking admiral in the American military at the time. And no, you are wrong. Japan did actually offer conditional surrender before the nukes. One of the conditions that they considered unacceptable being the continuation of the Japanese emperor. And America was like, no conditional surrender, just full-blown surrender. Fuck you, actually, we're just going to nuke you regardless. And then they did, and then they kept the conditional surrender, surrender that they put forward. So you're wrong. On August 10th, 1945, Japan offered to surrender to the Allies, the only condition being that the emperor allowed to remain the nominal head of the state. Look at that. You don't have to watch Sean's 8-hour fucking YouTube video to come to this conclusion. This is from the Manhattan Project from the U.S. Department of Energy and an interactive history. Planning for the use of additional nuclear weapons continued even as the deliberations were ongoing. On August 10th, Leslie Groves reported to the War Department that the next bomb, another plutonium implosion weapon, would be ready for delivery on the first sustainable weather after 17th or 18th of August. Following the destruction of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, only 2 targets remain from the original list. No, I know this part is actually after the bombs were dropped. The argument isn't even this anyway. The argument that Americans use in textbooks usually revolves around something along the lines of like, well, the firebombing of Japan would be far more devastating for the civilian population, which it was, than one big bomb or maybe 2 big bombs. And that is a ridiculous argument to make because we act like there is no alternative to the firebombing. Having said that, however, obviously I'm not here running defense for Japanese war crimes in World War II. After all, I am not the American government or the Japanese government. People always point to the Japanese people saying that they will never surrender, that they had that dog in them. They would just die by the millions if necessary, and that they would kill themselves. I feel like it's Orientalism at play when people say that. That's bullshit and you know it, but then you're going to say some dumb shit like, oh, thanks, HasanAbi, and move on without addressing the argument. Buffoon in a suit. The only defense. Walter Trohan, a reporter for the Chicago Tribune, reported that 2 days before President Roosevelt left for the Yalta Conference with Winston Churchill and Joseph Stalin in early February 1945, he was shown a 40-page memorandum drafted by General MacArthur outlining a Japanese offer for surrender, almost identical with the terms later concluded by President Truman. This is well documented for the record. U.S. leaders knew we didn't have to drop atomic bombs on Japan to win the war. We did it anyway. Dying before surrendering is a common sentiment in Japanese militarism, though, is why kamikaze became a thing. It doesn't matter. There's also a loyalty to the Japanese emperor. And if the Japanese government decides that they are going to surrender, then people are going to surrender. Do not use Oriental that is racist against Asians. I don't know if you know this. I said it. I think it's Orientalist, which is an academic term, as in Orientalism is the otherization of like those from the Orient, myself included as a Turkish person, Palestinians, and of course everyone in Asia, South Asia, East Asia. The idea that like they have a difference in opinion and different value sets and are not like those in the Western world. I said Orientalism. Don't say racism, it's racist. Yeah. Edward Said, racist against Asians. Have you watched that video where they surprised an atomic bomb survivor by having him meet the guy that dropped the nuke on a city? I did. It's fucking awful. Yeah, Orient actually comes from the Latin for rising because that's the sun's direction is supposed to Occident.
La 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 la, no DMCA. La 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 la, no DMCA. La 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 la, no DMCA. No DMCA. No DMCA. La 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 la, no.